They got a little chicken there. We call this chicken. There you go.
Thanks, Chief.
All right.
Well, hello. Hey, everyone that's in here. Looks like we got quite a few people in here already. And so I'm hearing some echo from my other camera. Normally I turn that off, but I'm not going to unless you guys hear that echo and it's annoying. First of all, can you hear me? Can you see me? Get a 5x5. Got quite a few people in here. Awesome. Mr. Landfill, thank you. Good bunch of people. You guys all rock. So thank you for showing up as always. Looks like we do. We got the crew here. Oh, good. Thank you. And it looks like we got a bunch of good comments already, too. So I knew that would spark a little bit with today's thumbnail, with today's topic, with it be prepper. Anyways, we're going to get to that later. We got a lot going on today. And let's see. Remember, communications, my amateur license is, ham radio operator. That's something I'd like to get into. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of comments. I'll address some of those and we'll get to a little bit here. Hopefully today I'm able to convey the things I want and slow down enough to do that effectively. So that's the goal. I am going to start off by throwing one comment up just because I liked it. And I'm going to address that right off the bat. So let's see. There we go. And that's Christina. Your first thumbs down. Yep. So I've gotten some of those and that's kind of it's not fun, but it definitely happens. here on YouTube. So you're official. I fully expect to get some thumbs down on this video, and probably comments as well. And that is fine. You guys can leave whatever you like. But we'll hop into that in a minute. First of all, how is everyone doing here? You guys can go ahead and drop in the comments. How's your weather? I know I've seen how some of y'all are doing, but anything. People always give thumbs down when you talk about prep and stuff a little bit. And I don't think tonight's stream's actually going to be what you guys think or what anyone thinks. Hopefully I'm approaching it a little differently, but go ahead and drop down anything you guys may have going on, any weather, big announcements, anything like that you'd like to discuss in the chat, and we can talk about that. But I hope you guys are doing good. You guys have all, if you're here, you made it another day. We officially survived a most of another day, and so that's awesome. We're doing better than some people already. Just wet and muddy. Okay, yeah. So also, hello to anyone that watches in the replay crowd. We do get quite a few people there. So if you're watching in replay, give it a thumbs up and maybe a howdy in the comments there. That would be appreciated. So first of all, if you are maybe new, don't know me too well, my name is Matt here with the Grafted Branch Homestead. So I come to you from the high desert of New Mexico, where we are learning now on our slightly under a quarter-acre urban homestead. We are doing the things. We are developing skills, learning practices, and going about life a little bit differently. So we're kind of on a mission to escape the norm, or what's becoming the norm nowadays in the world, to living a healthier, better life with some more self-sufficiency and other good things there. And so people are talking about that a little bit. Awesome. Your mulberry planted. Okay, cool. So this is my Saturday night live stream. Normally it's Urban Chat with Matt. Today there's a little bit of a twist on it, and it's slightly different. I should go about an hour tonight. That is always kind of the goal. And we got a couple things going on. First of all, let me turn over here real quick. I need to turn this down. There we go. So we got a double boiler going over there, and we'll get to that in a minute here. But what we're trying to do here is develop the skills to navigate this crazy life, to get through it, to have some foresight, some open eyes, and wisdoms as to some of the pitfalls and things that this world may hold, and how to best be prepared for those things. For the things I'm responsible for personally. So a lot to get into today. Today I'm going to have a lot of dialogue and not be in comments quite as much. So I apologize for that. If you have specific questions, you may have to put it in a couple times. It looks like we got a couple people who aren't normally in here. Some newer people. Blissful Acres Off-Grid Homestead, welcome. Anyone new I may have missed, welcome. So first of all, starting off, I got me some tea going. I've had too much coffee today as normal, and trying not to speak fast or feel jittery. So today's tea is my Harmony tea, and that's meant to calm me down a little bit. So we got that going. That is in my shop, graftedbranchhomestead.com. There's not a whole lot in there right now because we are running out of a lot of things. That's good news, though. I'll be restocking that. I did want to mention there is a discount on there for free shipping. That is good all the way through the end of the month. So another 4 days if you want to take advantage of that. Also, getting as many freebies with my orders and things is going to cut down. We're changing just a couple things, and I'll show that when that comes along. Also adding in some new products, some quail eggshell pens we got here, and notebook covers and things like that, as well as some Valentine gifts. So there is a little bit about that. Mr. Landfill, you are not new. The people giving thumbs down are ones waiting in super long lines for government handouts, hoping it doesn't run out before they get front line. Yeah, I think they do that, or they do it out of fear. Hopefully we'll address a little bit of that. Let's see. So yeah, so the shop discount that's running out, there's been new items and some things changing there a little bit. You can check out my video description. In that there's some affiliate links for different items that I may be using. the GraftedBranchhomestead or different things, Augustin Farms. You can check that out as well. Cool. So tonight's agenda, I'll talk a little bit about what I'm going to go through and why and how, and then we will hop into it. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to discuss kicking the chemicals. My mission to cutting down the chemicals I put on and in my body. And so we've been doing that through deodorants, toothpaste, mouthwash. I'm going to talk about my most recent deodorant just for a quick second, and then we're going to be making some goat's milk soaps. Real simple one over there. So we're going to start with that. Then we're going to move on to a little bit of community shout out, things that have been going on that I've seen, and some mentions. And then third, we're going to hop into some preparedness minded talk, surviving life's journey and being a responsible captain of my own boat and what that means. So my views on preppers, on prepping and preparedness, and it's only my views. It's going to be a calm, peaceful talk, probably not what you're thinking, but it could trigger some people as a little bit there, so that we're going to do that at the end. Not that I think it's triggering, but just so everyone knows. Let's see. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hop into making this soap. So if you've been following, you know I've been doing a little kind of kicking the chemicals thing. And once again, I appreciate everyone's comments. Sorry, I'm not too much in comments like normal. We'll get to that. But most recent I've been doing was I made a deodorant, one that I made specifically to put in stick form. I like the stick form. These small ones run out quick. And to be honest, just out of ease, I really like just scraping it out in this container. Now, as you can see, the batch I made probably cost me about 50 cents there. So I'm preparing a little bit to beat inflation, and also developing and preparing the skills to make the things I need. So if there's maybe some shipping or store supply issues or things like that, besides just getting rid of nasty chemicals, I also have another means of doing it. So woohoo! This, I do want to tweak this recipe, and we'll do that again, but not until this is done. So obviously, it's going to last me a while. Today, I'm going to be making a super simple soap recipe. Now, there are a little bit of warning. Make sure it's still going good. Yep. Making soap, there can be some concerns, some dangers, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can do cold press, hot press. What I'm doing is, this is a kit I actually bought, and some stuff I bought probably 2 years ago, and I'm going to be using now. This is super simple, and this actually uses a soap base. So this is actually soap in itself, and really all I'm doing today is adding my own ingredients and essential oils and things like that. So you can make your own soap using lye and things, and I do want to do that and dig in. But as I've done with everything, I'm going to kind of start with the most simplest way. And so this is natural, organic, and it's going to be cutting out a lot of chemicals that I'm putting on my body. Excuse me. So what I got here is, sorry, I have not, Aaron, but I could. I know there's some issues there with selling those types of things. I think I can do farmer's market, but if I'm doing it online, I know I need a special kitchen or way of labeling, so I need to look into that. But great idea. So this is our Earth Secrets goat milk. Hopefully someday I'll have goats, but right now this is just a melt and pour soap base. Melt and pour soap base. So made with real liquid goat's milk. Here I have 2 pounds, and this has the ingredients listed, all natural things. These are ingredients if you're making your own soap base, you would do. So could do coconut oil, palm oil, safflower oil, glycerin or kosher vegetable origin, goat's milk, purified water, sodium hydroxide, that's a soapifying agent, sorbitol or a moisturizer, sorbitin, a mineral whitener used in opaque soaps. So with this, oh, okay, awesome. Thanks, Verna. Maybe I will then. So with this, all you got to do is melt it down. You could do it in a microwave. I'm going to do it in the double boiler here, and then you're going to add the other ingredients that you want to it. In this case today, I'm going to be adding some lavender and rosemary. Those are some things I have handy that I really enjoy in soaps. I'll also be adding a little bit of essential oil. We're going to pour it into a mold, and I'll let that cool and cut that up. So I did list in the description this here, in case you're wanting to pick one up. The one I listed in the description isn't exactly the same because they don't have that anymore. It actually is a little bit better. And so what this comes with here is a couple things. I'm going to get a couple blades for cutting the soap. There's still water in there. And this one came with some bags so I can bag up my soap. And then just like I've been doing with my resin, quail resin egg pens and whatnot, this one also comes with a silicone mold in the bottom and then a wood base. I think the newer one comes with the one that you can slice it too. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into this, and then I'm going to do a little bit more of comments, and then we'll go on to our next section. So I'm going to come over here to my camera. I'm motivating you. Okay, awesome. Good. That's the goal. Take my handy, trusty EDC knife here. Everyday carry. That's because I'm prepared to do whatever I need, right? That can mean a lot of things. So we're going to cut this open. And it does suggest I have this cut maybe cubed. And you only put in what you want. I'm going to put in the full 2 pounds here. And I'm just going to be putting that right into the double boiler. Now, I do want to mention I am prepared to do this when I set up to prepare for my stream and do this. Of course, I'm cooking. I have the burner inside, so the window's cracked. I have these things that are normally not right beside me. They're I know where they are in the house, but I have them here for show. And so that is my carbon monoxide detector. My window's cracked, preparing for bad things that may happen with making soap and burning things inside. Of course, fire extinguishers, I keep those all over the place. You have that in case of emergency, right? So good things to have so I don't burn down my house. And just a little bit of thinking ahead there, right? Hey, East Tennessee Preparedness, good to see you listening as I drop off to sleep. That is awesome. Well, I will lull you to sleep with the sounds of preparedness. Good to see you, Jim. All right, cool. So I'm just going to put this in here, and this is going to take a little bit to melt, even though it's very hot. And this is over a burner, so there could be, fire and whatnot. I want to try making aloe soap. That sounds great. So I want to use, I got some aloe vera plants up here, and my goal with those is I was wanting to make some hair gel out of aloe vera. So, all right, let me go ahead and put these in here. We're going to get that going. I'm melting and mixing up while I talk. There we go. All right. And so, I got stuff all over me. That's okay. So I think a lot of people are preparedness minded, whether they think it or not, either on purpose or inadvertently, and as to what degree, that's going to depend on everyone else. So tonight, what I'm going to talk about is a little bit of how I view it, and not necessarily what I do, but my take on it. And so while this melts, I'll talk about that just a little bit and get into it just a little bit. I'm kind of jumping ahead some, but that's the theme kind of tonight. Oh, let's see. What is that? On after 32 stitch recovery. Oh, yikes. 3 weeks to go. Well, I hope you recover good. Making bar soap first. So that's what I'm doing. Yep, I'm making bar soap. Right now, we use either Dove or real cheap liquid soap. But I'm going to be doing this for myself now, trying it out. But yeah, ouch. I guess while that melts, we can look at comments for a moment. We got a couple. Brooks saying, I have 12 bottles of lye and lots of soap making ingredients, but haven't made it. Awesome. Yeah, so when you're making it from scratch, the base, lye and all that, there are some extra precautions I do know you need there. Excuse me. But by making my own soap, I'm helping kick out some chemicals. I'm hoping to hedge a little bit and prepare a little bit for inflation maybe. There could be I don't know, shipping issues or things like that in the stores. So having redundancies and contingency plans. Maybe I can't get soap. No need to freak out. I can make my own soap. Actually, here, a little tip, I guess, in the desert, we have yucca plants all over the place. And yucca root itself is an astringent and can be used to make soap. You can make that into a poultice and it'll clean just fine. They actually even use that to make the Slurpees, the slushies, the really foamy ones. That's often one of the ingredients in there to get it to foam up. So you could make my own. I could go out and dig up a yucca plant and get some of that root and make my own soap that way. And that's part of being prepared. I think preparedness switches from I think it makes a switch when you start thinking about things and planning it out and doing things on purpose. I think that's kind of when you go from just knowing skills and things to hopefully being a little more prepared. And so preparedness is not hoarding. It could be, but not in my case. In my case, it is doing things like this. Now, I do have extra things on the shelf, but doing things like this, I'm being prepared. I'm developing skills and I'm preparing my own life to be able to do different things. So let me get over here and stir this while I'm rambling. I'm doing this chat. It kind of got me thinking here. I was in Vay's place this morning over in her stream. And Verna, if you want to drop your link, that would be awesome. But if you guys are unfamiliar with Vay's place and her stream, I usually catch the Saturday morning one. And absolutely awesome stream. Great people in there. Good food for thought. Really gets me thinking. And today she was talking about prepping or preparedness a little bit. And then I go and I look, and Gidros Family Farms did a little video on somewhat on prepping, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But theirs was a reason a lot of people think about prepping, and that's you come up against a problem. And so you start thinking, well, what could I do to have less stress and to go about it a little bit better? Maybe the next time something like that happens. Anyways, in their video, and I'll talk about it in a bit here, but it got them thinking. So that got me thinking about why I do what I do and what exactly it is that I do. Oop. All right. And so once I get this melted, we'll move on pretty quickly with making the soap and pouring it and get to the part I'd really like to get to, the meat of today's discussion. Hey, Abba Love, good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, so today is talking preparedness mindset. I like to refer to it as surviving life. And soap making. So we're making goat's milk soap off of a really simple soap base that we're well, in reality, we're just remelting it and adding in fragrances and other things. It's the most simplest type of soap making I think you can do. So hopefully we'll progressively get a little more in depth with that as we go on. All right, let's see. We can get. Yeah, so Verna is a wealth of knowledge. Check out Vay's place. Great discussion this morning. I was sad I had to hop off, but yeah, so much can be made with yucca. Yeah, it is a awesome plant. So yucca blossoms are great for soap. You can actually even grill up the yucca flowers and make a great food too. So part of being prepared, and I think I like the reason I call it preparedness mindset and not just prepping or anything like that. And I'll get into a little terminology in a bit, but is because it's developing the skills and knowledge to know there's oftentimes food and the things you need all around you. It's just knowing how to harness that, how to tune into that. So one of the things I think is absolutely ridiculous is when you hear stories about like people who are in the forest or places where there's literally food and medicine and things all around them, and they end up dying or not doing so good because they don't know how to get that or how to do that. And so I'd hate to be in a situation where myself or those I'm responsible for have the things they need around them, but don't know how to harness that. Let's see, you can add oatmeal to soap. Okay. So that sounds good. I'm definitely with getting into making my own deodorants and things like that, learning what the individual ingredients do. I think that's awesome, like arrowroot and things like that that you can use. Um, One of the huge benefits to making these things and doing DIY stuff like this, besides getting away from chemicals, maybe helping with inflation or supply, and gaining the skills and knowledge to do it, one of the huge benefits is you pick up a lot of knowledge along the way about the individual items, why they do what they do, and how. And that in itself helps to prepare you and give you a better start, I guess. I don't know if that made sense. This is taking a little bit to melt. I probably should have started it a little sooner, but that's okay. We got that going. Oatmeal soothes the skin. All right. And then Vernon was saying hoarders are the ones that buy up all the toilet paper. Yeah. So if you're doing prepping right too, I'm going to talk a little bit about how much I think people actually need. And if you're doing it right and doing it on a budget, like most of us are, you don't have thousands of dollars just to go buy a ton of toilet paper. You're buying it little by little at a time. So you're not hoarding anything, and you should be doing it with a living rotational stock. So, yep, a lot of people say hoarders. That's definitely the term a lot of people go to right away. But when I get to that in a few minutes here and dig into it a little bit and what I think and I view it as, hopefully that will negate some of that. Yeah, I should have cut it into little pieces. And that is an extremely important thing too there, Brooke. Yep. And that's something I actually need to work on. That's something I'm not great at. I'm kind of a lone wolf, and so I'll talk a little bit about that too. But I think I might hop into community chat a little bit while this melts. And so one of the next segments or little areas I want to talk about is community chat. I'm not going to play my video or dig into it too heavily tonight, just because tonight's is a little bit different. But let's see. Let me go ahead and get to that. So I'm going to screen share really quickly here. And so this month, if you're unfamiliar, I'm doing some community chat where I take about a month or so to really dig into another creator, try and give them some screen time, check out their shop or what it may be they need, basically give their channel a little bit of loving. And so this month we're doing J. Mary last one. And so I'm going to hop over to hers and then we will screen share here. Now she does a lot of stuff just kind of showing her life and things she has going on, her animals, things she cooks. Really cool watching, easy watching. I enjoy it a lot. I'm going to stir this real quick. And she actually has a recipe for a walnut cornbread in here that I was going to be making. So let's go ahead and hop over to her thing that I was going to be making, but I didn't have all the ingredients. So we didn't get that done. Let's see. We have a couple community shout outs almost today. So let's see, am I sharing? I am. All right. So you guys can check her out. J. Mary last one. This is this month giving her some screen time, a little bit of love and views. And so I really enjoy watching her videos here. She does, there's that banana nut cornbread I was going to make. She does some reviews on her new oven, a lot of food she's got going here. Really just some fun videos. And so let me just do this quick.
I got a new. Good morning, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Today we're going to make banana nut cornbread. Now, if you want to duplicate all my.
All right, and I'm not going to play it all, but there is J. Mary there. And so I've been watching some of her stuff. And if you guys got some free time, I suggest you go check it out too. Give her a little love and subscribe if you're not. And then the other community shout out actually is the first one we did, and that is Guidro's Family Farms again, because as I get into prepping talk, it's the second reason I decided kind of to do, well, gave me some ideas about what to do tonight in the stream. So I'm going to play a little segment of her latest video and then talk about that kind of just in a moment. So this is almost all melted. I'm going to come over here and add my, well, let's go ahead and hop into the Gidros video. Yeah, where there is no doctor. That is a good one. So, oh man, I could do it. One moment here. So I have Where There Is No Doctor. The one I grabbed right here, though, actually is Where There Is No Dentist. And so these are great books. I could do a whole segment just on survivalist mindset type books and things. Good books. I'm going to go ahead and hop over here, though, to Gidros, and I'm going to play just the first minute or so of their video because I'm going to talk about that in a little bit here. So just a moment. And while I'm buying some time for this soap to melt. Okay, let's screen share again. Okay, and I hope it's okay if I... Yeah, I'll do a video on books. That would be great to do. So I hope it's okay I mention you and play this little segment. So they actually did a little video on something that happened to them. They had, I believe it was a water main burst, and so they've been without water. She also talks in the video, well, here, let me play a minute, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but let's see. So her video was prepping for water emergencies, and she does state in it that they are not preppers, but this gave them some food for thought, basically. I really liked how she put the video together, so I'm going to play just a moment.
There's a water main that busted where we live, and they have canceled schools today. We have a little bit of drinking water on hand, but we like to make sure we have enough animal water. After going through Hurricane Ida, we pretty much have a system down for that. Last night we were prepared for there to be no water this morning, so we filled up 5-gallon buckets from the hose pipe. That way we could do animal care this morning. Now I have went and gathered everything that can hold water, and I put it out here because we are expecting rain today. So this is how I'm going to collect animal water, just in case they don't get it as fixed as fast as they think that they will. But fingers crossed, it'll be sooner rather than later. Hey friends, I took a walk out to the greenhouse to come check on these seedlings. They are doing excellent. I still have some more to get planted, but that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I actually wanted to talk to you a bit about was prepping. That's not something I cover a lot because we're not doomsday preppers or anything like that. We're homesteaders with a touch of prepping, and I think that all goes along this.
Okay, and I'm going to stop her there, and that is because you guys got to go check out their channel and watch that video for yourself. I really liked how she put it, though, because when she says, you know, we're not necessarily preppers, we're not doomsday preppers, anything like that, you know, and I'm not either, but what she talked about was food for thought, and what I think prepping actually should be, and that is a preparedness mindset. So this is going to continue melting. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought, so I am going to go ahead and jump a little bit into tonight. I was going to do this first and then get into that talk, so anyone that did want to hop off could if they liked. Yes, okay, so Brooke, and I do apologize. I missed your show the last few weeks. I haven't been able to make it, but I can't figure out how to watch some of the replays, I guess. But we're going to get over there. Anyways, you guys can check out Messianic Lamb there, and Brooke has a lot of stuff there. Okay, so yeah, we're going to get some links and things dropped. All right, so let's see. Where am I at? All right, so I want to talk a little bit about what I am personally moving towards or away from. And this is what I do personally. So this is going to gear all the homesteading things or preparedness type things and all that, what I do. So the stance I come at it from. And what my personal goal or what I'm trying to do is get away from, I guess, this world, this new world, if you will. Get away from the 9 to 5. I'm trying to get away from mass-produced things. I'm trying to get away from all the preservatives and chemicals. I'm trying to get away from the way the world says things need to be done. I'm trying to get back to a much more natural or better state, I believe, at least. Now, that does involve a lot of hard work, a lot of pre-planning, and a lot of discipline and things like that. It is not an easy path, but it is the path I'm going on. So when I approach homesteading, prepping, things like that, personally, I am doing it from a way of trying to get to a better life, in my view. So everyone does it for different reasons. Everyone does prep, I believe. It's just as to what degree, why, and whether they're doing it on purpose or not. And so we'll talk about that. But let's see. So in the video that the Guidros Family Farms did there, she discussed water issues, basically. And so they had a water main burst, and they were talking about just how much water you actually need and who they're responsible for. So them and their family, those that they're going to help out, and then how they got it. They had to run to the store. They had to spend more than they'd like and had to acquire water, which is extremely necessary. You need air, food, water, shelter, some of the base things. So it got them thinking, which is awesome. That's how we prepare for stuff. We think about it, and oftentimes it's because we've encountered something. And you do need a lot of water. So she mentioned a couple things I really thought were key in there that I liked, and that is who you're responsible for, who's in your boat, if you will. She mentioned the animals, which I thought is overlooked a lot. So a lot of people will prepare water for themselves. Maybe they'll have some extra water bottles in the house, maybe a filter. Now, she talked about the expensive filters. So I want to do some videos on building Berkeys and different means of doing things like that on the cheap. So we'll get there. But she talked about that. And then they showed now their environment or their area they're in. And these are things you need to know. So they get a lot of rain. They're actually able to collect a lot of rain. And I know Aaron was going and moving rainwater to give to the animals. And so that's somewhat being prepared. That is knowing, hey, you've got the knowledge of the rain's pouring. I need to get those buckets out, fill them up, and get them to the animals. So that is the environment you're in, taking advantage of that. In the desert, that's not something I would really have to my advantage or that I could use would be rainwater. So water definitely takes a little bit more of a priority, I guess, being that it's not as readily available. Let's see. So it's good definitely to have contingencies, to have redundancies. 2 is 1, 1 is none. The first, obviously, because I'm not going completely off grid and things like that, is city water. So that's the first thing I have available to me. Now, I should have a backup plan. It's a good idea to have some water on hand for the family, for food I may need to cook, for a lot of things that are overlooked, for hygiene, sanitary means, things like that. All take a lot of water. I think you should have it prepared. I guess you can say hoarded, if you will. Also, though, more so, I think you should know the skills to acquire water, the means to filter it, and things like that. That's all stuff you can develop that will help you out a whole lot more in the future. My soap is ready. Okay, let's hop over to that real quick. Thank you. Okay. Yep, it is just all about melted. So I'm going to get this stirred. The next ingredient in my super easy soap here is you're going to add what you want. So this is the soap base. I'm going to go ahead and add some essential oils. I've decided to add sandalwood here. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to need. 1, 2. I'm going to put, based on my experience of making the deodorants and things, as to how much I'm going to need. I don't want this super strong, but I'm going to add 25 drops to this 2 pounds. We'll find out if that's enough or not. That's a little bit of an experiment. So I'm going to stir in my sandalwood essential oil. The next thing I'm going to add, just because this is something I really, in our family, likes in store-bought, and that is lavender and rosemary. So I'm going to dump some of this out here and add in some lavender flowers. There we go. We'll stir that in. You can add whatever you want. The soap base is I guess supposedly just the easiest way. We'll find out. And there's still little chunks in there. That's okay. So we got lavender. And now I'm going to put some rosemary here. And I could do oatmeal or other things. There's a ton of things you could put in it. And I'd like to try a lot of different things. There we go. So I'm going to stir this up. And it does still need a little bit of melting there. So we'll let that keep going while I chat a little bit more. It's probably a better way to do this, I'm sure. Anyhow. We'll hop into a couple little comments. Let's see. Prevention is the best. Drop the link. No problem, Matt. Oh, okay. Let's see. Talked about so this must have been in your stream this morning or Friday. Talked about 2 types of melatonin and natural near infrared light. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. All right, everyone was telling me my soap's ready. 55-gallon barrels are good. They are, yeah. So here, that's one of the easiest ways to store water. Of course, if you can do a cistern or in-ground thing, that's awesome. Your situation is going to be different for everyone, depending on where you live, and there's no one way fits all for everyone. And so you may have a creek, you may be able to get water that way. Who knows? Yeah, good. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to finish this before I get in the meat of my talk. Anyways, I should have shredded it. All right, let me get some notes. We're going to go ahead and start getting here, I guess. All right, so basically when I see preparedness mindset, what I'm thinking of, and I'm going to use some analogies here, but it's be the captain of your own boat. And that your boat, your fleet, whatever that may look like. Who are you responsible for? What are your responsibilities? Is it just you? Are you responsible for, like in my own situation, I'm responsible for me, for my wife, for my kids. I'm also responsible for my animals, for my pets, for my chickens and quail. It is my responsibility to make sure they have the things they need and that I think ahead a little bit so as to assure that. And so who's in your boat? And so in my boat, now who's the captain, who co-captains or goes and does their own thing, that varies a little bit. So just for sake of analogy, in my boat is my wife, my kids, my dogs, my animals. There's some extended people in my boat or my fleet, I guess. That would be some extended family that if there was a situation, I would help. I know like in Gidro's video, she talks about helping their kids and their family. And so that was a priority. So you need to know that. That should be part of your plan. Let's see. A little bit about terms. So there's prepping, prepper, preparedness, mindset, hoarder. My favorite is survivalist. So when I look at everything and how I go about it and what I'm doing, I'm trying to survive day to day. And that's the best thing you can do. Now I can look ahead to make each day a little bit easier, take some stress off, or set myself up better to handle that. And I think that's being of the preparedness mindset. But I like to consider myself a survivalist. Now, a prepper oftentimes carries an EDC bag, but that's not part of prepping. That's part of surviving, I think. Women, when they carry a large purse, I know oftentimes carry an EDC bag. I know a lot of women have everything they need in their purse to prepare for any circumstance that their kid or they may come across. If you carry a wallet, the things in your pocket, that's all part of preparedness, whether you think about it or not. So what I am surviving or escaping, teaching, learning, and building, hopefully is to do that, to get from the day to day and to be a success by making it to the next with me and everyone on my boat, if you will. So tonight, I kind of want to get into a little bit, once this is melted, I will. What is a prepper to me? What is preparedness to me? And so what is preparedness mindset and a survivalist? Why be prepared? Responsibilities and such. Who or what am I responsible for? Benefits of a preparedness mindset journey. Sorry, I got some notes. Warnings about prepping. How much is necessary and why my views on it all, the best I can convey. So let me go ahead, stir this one more time. Sorry, I keep going back and forth. I should have been better prepared and had this shredded up. Okay, that's about all melted though. So I'm going to turn off the burner, and I actually need to go grab a pot holder. So let me turn this off real quick. Pop out my thing just for safety. There we go. And I'm going to go grab some pot holders. I'll be right back. Ooh, it smells wonderful in here. Coming from the other room to in here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have this mold that it came with. And all I'm going to do is pour my soap in there. And then it says to spritz the top of it with some alcohol to help it. I'm not going to do that because I don't have that available. So, yep. All right. Let me see. We'll move this around. And hopefully I don't burn myself doing this. If so, then you all get to watch a little bit of first aid preparedness that I have available. So I also don't want to spill it everywhere. There we go. Woo, that steam. Edge this here real quick. There we go. And I'm going to be really careful. And we're just going to pour that right into the mold. And that's going to sit and cool. And I don't know if it's going to cool off by the end of the stream tonight or not. If not, then you guys will get the update as usual in another one. So there we go. We got that. And it does say to spritz the top of it with some alcohol. But I'm not doing that right now. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop over here. Cool. All right, so that is the super simple soap. That's all you do. It's going to set up there and cool. And then once I get it nice and cool, I can break it free and cut it into soap bars here. And we'll show those. About the simplest way you can do it, and we'll get a little more in depth later. But now I can get into the meat of my talk without being distracted so much. So we're going to go ahead and end this camera. Oh, no, don't do that. Almost ended the stream. Okay, and I got a couple other people in here I can see. There we go. That won't be distracting me. Okay. All right. Hey, Psych, good to see you. Welcome in. And Age, hey, welcome. Good, good. Let's see. Oh, hey, no, that's awesome. You're talking to Brooke, I know, but that was actually a question I had too. You carry a waistband strap, can't see under your blouse. Oh, yeah. All right, so we'll get to a little bit of that. So first of all, I do want to mention when I'm talking about preparedness mindset tonight, I'm only going to basically scratch the surface. I'm just kind of getting into my views on it a little bit. I'm not digging in. I do hope over this year to dig in a little bit in a way that doesn't scare anyone or anything like that. So there's a ton, and you guys all can leave things in comments. That is awesome. Like Fight Club soap. Yeah, except for this one's not from people. All right, cool. So let me go ahead, and I am going to go over an hour, but we will hop back in. So first thing I wanted to do when I'm talking about preparedness mindset and stuff is I'm going to give a little bit of a reality check, at least according to me. Now, this may be things people may not like or anything like that, but here are some of my views on it. And so I have here 10 things I wrote down to bring a little bit of reality, I guess. So first off, number one, I believe the only thing you can truly prepare is your spirit, in my opinion. Number two, no one makes it out of this world alive. Number three, personal apocalypses and emergencies happen differently and daily. Number four, We are not promised tomorrow. You can be prepared for everything and still not make it. Number 5, all physical and stored preps can be lost. So shoot for skills and knowledge. Number 6, you cannot be 100% off-grid or self-sufficient. And I'm going to go a little more in depth in this, but number 7, you most likely will not survive an end of the world scenario. Somewhat, to a degree, doomsday prepping is kind of out, and I'll get into that a little bit more. Number 8, you cannot avoid all chemicals, pitfalls, and harmful things in this life. Number 9, skills with practice and knowledge are the most valuable. A survivalist can go on even when his preps are lost. Number 10, you can't, and this is one of the most important, you cannot live in fear. This only leads to stress and bad things. Worrying and living in fear are only going to steal your happiness and borrow from tomorrow. So do not do that. All right, cool. And so that is most of my notes. So we're going to go back through each of these and what it means to me a little bit. And so number 1, I say the only thing, and if you've watched me a little bit, I do go at things spiritually a little bit. So that may or may not mean anything to you, but it is why I approach things. So I do believe that the only thing you can truly prepare is your spirit. And this goes in kind of with a few of the others. And that's the most important thing I think you can prepare for. We're only here for a short amount of time. And I think that's going to matter most. So number 2, no one's going to make it out of this world alive. You guys aren't going to make it out of this world alive. Everyone goes, and everyone goes in their own time. So we can prepare and have a prepare mindset so as to hopefully make that a little bit longer, right? Today matters the most, though. And so what you do today, the lives you affect, and the things you do today matters the most because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Personal apocalypses and emergencies happen differently and daily. In everyone's life, they're going to come up with different challenges and different things that they have to encounter. That may be based on the area you live in, such as a tornado or hurricane. It could be job loss, home loss, family loss. It could be deaths or things like that. Everyone's going through different things, and a personal apocalypse, if you will, or emergency situation is going to look differently for everyone. And it could happen several times throughout your life. We're not promised tomorrow. So you can be prepared for everything and still lose it. And what I mean by that is, the most prepared people out there, Elon Musk or Bill Gates or whoever these people are, could be prepared to the rafters and be driving in their motorcade, and the person next to them driving along has an aneurysm and their car swerves and there's a car accident and they're gone. You could prepare the best you can. Things in life still happen. So let's see. All physical and stored preps can be lost. Shoot for skills. This happens a lot. So one of the channels I like watching is Survival Living. And he actually talks about how at one point he had a house fire and he lost everything. So one of his big points on that is to not put all your items in one area. But I take it from a little bit more. Even the Bible says you can lose your stuff to rust, to moth, to theft. I don't know if the government's in here tonight too, but to them, anything you have physically stored up can be lost. So don't hoard. Don't think so much about that. Shoot more so for the skills, for the knowledge. You cannot be 100% off-grid or self-sufficient. So as much as people like, and I'll get in the comments a little bit, but as much as people like to think they're going to go be 100% off-grid or self-sufficient, or that they are, the truth of it is there's very, very, very few people that make that happen. You're going to need clothes. You're going to need items. You're going to need barter and trade. Unless you're out there making everything, you build your house, you grow everything you eat, you make all your clothes and all of that, you're not going to be 100%. And so the reality is, as much as you want to be, you're not. Now, that's something I like to shoot for. Of course, life in itself is a journey. And if I'm going at it with preparedness mindset, that is a journey as well. And so hopefully I'll get as close to that as possible. You most likely will not survive an end of the world scenario. So this is something that may be hard to hear, but if it's an end of the world scenario, you're probably not going to survive it. I don't have any illusions that I'm going to survive a nuclear attack or people landing in my backyard or something extremely huge like that. So again, that's why I have to prepare my spirit and ready myself. Let's see. Skills with practice and knowledge are the most valuable. So I've gone over that a little bit. I think that is some of the most valuable things. And you cannot live in fear. All right, so let me hop over here. Sorry, I got notes all over. All right. So some of the things I wanted to address. What is a prepper to me? So a prepper to me is, it gets a lot of bad raps because it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. Prepper to me is just someone that has their eyes open, that is looking a little bit ahead into the future, kind of like chess. You're anticipating things, what could happen for your area, your circumstance, and is making a plan. A prepper to me is someone that has taken their worry or concerns or all those things and has kind of taken that to a next step. They've sat down, they put a little thought to it. They've maybe written some things out, come up with a little bit of plan. A prepper to me is someone who has their eyes open and is going at it with a little bit of wisdom. I am going to get to dangers and to overkill. So if anyone thinking that, and I'm reading some of these comments just kind of quickly, I'm not mentioning them, but I love it. You guys are awesome. So that's what a prepper is to me. What is preparedness to me? Being prepared, everyone does, I think, whether it's inadvertently or not, and to what degree. And so I'm going to make a couple examples a little bit. When Farmer Casey, when my son was born, I immediately jumped into turning into a baby prepper. And you think, what is a baby prepper? Well, we prepared a room. We got the food together. We were going to need formula, things like that, extra diapers to last a while. I started going and searching out deals and things because it's very expensive for this different stuff. We got toys. We did research. I looked up things. I dove into it. And that was to be prepared to have this baby and to take on that responsibility for another life that I'm responsible for. If you've ever gone through job loss or a big life event like that, preparedness can really come in handy. It can help float you from a job to another job. You may not be able to pay all your bills necessarily unless you prepared financially. But if you prepared some food or something, you at least aren't going to go hungry. So preparedness to me is being wise, having your eyes open and doing something about it, taking some action, doing the things regardless of your situation. What is a preparedness mindset and a survivalist? So preparedness mindset, I think, is really what a prepper should be. And that is that you're never going to achieve preparedness. You're never going to hit a point where, okay, you're ready now. It's a journey, just like life. It may stop at any point for you. We don't know that. We're not given that knowledge. So you have to continue every day and every hour along that path. So when you're going at it with a preparedness mindset, you're looking at what things may happen and how you can best be prepared to handle that. I like to call it a survivalist. And why? Well, because I'm surviving this world I've been thrown into. Every day I got to wake up, I got to survive. That can mean different things and widely different ways I go about it. Why be prepared and responsibility? So why would you want to be prepared? First of all, besides the obvious, and we're about to go over an hour, but anyways, besides the obvious, to survive, I don't want to go hungry. I don't want to have certain financial hardships. I don't want to go without water. There's some good reasons to be prepared. I have people I'm responsible for, kids or animals or other things that people or things that rely on me. That's a good reason to be prepared. If you have been granted or given that responsibility of other people relying on you somewhat, then being prepared takes on a kind of another meaning. Now, personally, why be prepared? I look at it because I'm responsible for myself and others. I want to be prepared because I want to teach my kids and hopefully people around me a better way of living and how to do it even when maybe there's not as much supply there, or things are harder to get. Not to stress about that type of stuff in life. So those are some good reasons. Who or what am I responsible for? And so I talked about this a little bit. So I'm responsible for my kids, for my livestock, for my animals. These are all things I'm responsible for. And with that responsibility comes a certain level of preparedness and acting on emergencies, or when things may not necessarily go your way, whether it be a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, or so on. So that is what I'm responsible for. And I believe that it's my duty to uphold that. Benefits of preparedness, or a mindset journey. So kind of redundant a little bit. A lot of benefits besides just surviving. There's benefits you don't think about. So part of my preparedness mindset, or my journey, includes my garden, includes my animals. It is a lifestyle. And so that becomes easier to do as you dig into it. But some of the benefits there that maybe aren't necessarily thought of, a way I like to think of it is in school, they give you busy work. And a lot of times that busy work has nothing to do with the work itself. It's to build up other skills or other kind of behind the scenes things. So out of preparedness, or out of my homesteading, the journey I'm on, has come a lot of benefits. It's brought our family closer together. It's given some direction and some purpose to us. Definitely gaining skills and knowledge is a huge benefit. It shows my kids there is other ways of going about things. It helps to prepare me for maybe a job loss or time I can't buy and sell. It helps starting to prepare my mind and everything towards looking in that direction. And again, I'm only scraping the surface of this stuff. I'm not digging in real deep. And then we'll just get to some discussion. Warnings about prepping. And this is huge. And this is where I go into hoarders and that a little bit. I see that there's a lot of warnings to prepping. A lot of preppers can do it out of fear, out of urgency or response. And they go out and they just buy a bunch of stuff that's going to go bad. They're never going to use. That's a hoarder. And that's what you want to avoid. So there are a lot of warnings actually about prepping. When you do it, when we started, I somewhat did this, and I went out and I bought some things, some canned goods, started learning skills and canning ourselves and doing all these other things. And then we saw what worked for us, what we were going through. Now, when you're getting to prepping food and things like this, unless it's just super long-term stuff, you do have to cook. So if you don't cook meals yourself, I don't know how well that's going to work. And not all the time, but you do need to be cooking and using those supplies. For example, this month, me and my family have been doing a pantry challenge where we're trying to cook and eat off of our freezers, our pantries, the things we have. And so it's interesting in seeing what you need, what works for you. And so you can get into dangerous areas. And when it is becoming detrimental to your finances, it's creating hardships unnecessarily in your life, that is when you're becoming a prepper that's not good. You're not in the right mindset and you're not doing it right. You shouldn't put yourself in financial hardships. Prepping or preparedness mindset can be done on a really small scale or a really large scale. And that's going to be based on everyone's situation and where you're at. More so, it's about that mindset, about thinking forward, keeping those eyes open. How much is necessary and why? Now, when I look at why I would go out of preparedness mindset, and of course it's a continual thing, but how much types of stuff do you want on hand? And I only mention this, and this is going to look wildly different for everyone based on size, family size, your boat size, your responsibility size. And I use boat a little bit. Let me get into this analogy a little bit. But when you're a captain of a boat, you plan your voyage. You plan how long about it's going to take, the food that's going to be on your boat to care for your crew. Those you're responsible for, no matter the size of it. You chart the waters, maybe. You look for dangers, for things that could be ahead of you, icebergs, rocks, islands, whatever it may be. You think about these things ahead of time. You come up with somewhat of a plan before they set out on their voyage. Now, that captain's responsible for those people and for that plan. Things can come up, can change. You got to be fluid in that time. Things can go really bad. The boat could crash. So you got some redundancies, maybe some lifeboats or something like that. With some food and emergency items in them, hopefully. There's redundancies. Of course, your first plan is not to crash, it's to have a plan. Your second would be if something happened, you could bail out. And so that's kind of why I use the analogy of a captain a little bit. And so what you need and how much is going to change a lot. In my personal opinion, everyone should be able to get through a couple days. At the least, you should have a few days worth of water, of food, water for you, your animals, your hygiene, all that. Yeah, I care for the animals too. Now I stock up animal food and water. I do it personally to get my animals, livestock, a month. But you got to think about how much you're going to have on hand for that. So definitely a few days. A few weeks is awesome. You could have a power down or water line down or some other type of emergency. A couple weeks is great. Couple months, even better. Now, if you can have a couple weeks, couple months, a living pantry and a long term, hey, you're moving a step forward. Where it gets into a little bit of shady is, now personally, I believe everyone should have about up to a year. And why a year? Well, that's going to get you from growing season to growing season. So if you had to go off of whether it be supplementing or, God forbid, going fully off of the animals and preps and garden you have, you can get yourself from growing season to growing season. So about a year is what I suggest. Now, when you start getting over a few months or into a year or over a year, that's where I think it gets a little shady. And that's where I kind of talked about how most people aren't going to make it through an end of the world scenario. And my reason behind that is if you have to have enough stuff stocked up or piled up to get yourself a year, really over a couple, I mean, when you're getting into months and stuff, really, but there's something bigger going on. And unless you're prepared to handle all the people around you and all those people who have not prepared, that's a whole nother plan in itself. And so that takes on, that's another talk and kind of takes on another animal. If you are having to stockpile food and water for a year, I mean, if you have to bug out, can you take all that with you? If you, are you going to be able to defend all that? You run into a lot bigger problems. Also, now I personally prepare some for myself, for my family to get me on. I do it for others as well. If God tells me I need to help someone out. I also don't necessarily do it for me. It could be there for kids, for family. If I happen to not make it because I'm not promised tomorrow, then maybe those are there for someone that could stumble along and find it and help them out. So how much is necessary and why? I kind of touched on the why a little bit there. You should have enough to get you through a few days. You have maybe some power outage or something, a few weeks in case it's really bad, a few months in case maybe you have job loss, and that's going to get you to feed you until you get another job. That could be a few months. And when you get over that, you kind of get into a little bit of a craziness. So my views on it all, and to the best I can convey. So my view on a prepper is a prepper needs to be someone of preparedness mindset. It is a journey. It's not a destination you're ever going to get to. And it needs to be done in a way that is not going to create hardships or harm you. Remember, living in the day does matter. You're not guaranteed to tomorrow. So the things you do today, the lives you affect today, relationships and things you build, surviving today matters a whole lot more than worrying about tomorrow. Although there are steps and things we can do to cut down on stress and to give us a better shot at tomorrow. So that kind of sums up a little bit, just barely scratches the surface. What I would like to do now is jump into all these comments I have, spend the next 15, 20 minutes, just kind of in fellowship and chat. So any questions, anything anyone would like me to go in deeper on? I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff. Hopefully I conveyed my thoughts a little bit, but drop that in comments. Other than that, I'm going to scroll up and check a little bit of it out. Whew, there's a bunch of them. All right. I'm speaking truth. Okay, good. Awesome. Learn to reuse and be reuse and be resourceful. Be a MacGyver of type. We talked about this in Verna's chat about being a homesteader a little bit this morning, and I really think that's true. So part of being preparedness mindset and a homesteader, unless you just have a ton of cash, is definitely developing the skills and the knowledge and the neural pathways, if you will, as to how to think outside the box, how to do things untraditionally, and for yourself to reuse items. One of the first things I want to do is do a video on making a Berkey water filter. Yep. Yeah, there's lots of personal emergencies and apocalypse people go through all the time. Being prepared is just wise. Excellent points. I can't handle the fear mongering. Yeah. So that's what I want to get away from. And people push that. Let me talk about this for a little bit, because there's even times I will get a little caught up in the fear, a little fearful, stressed, things like that. When that happens, stop. Stop listening. Stop doing it. Enjoy life. Focus in on the moment. What's going on around you? What do you have to do today? What people are around you today, and what relationships can you help grow and nurture that day? Fear is not the point. So fear is not it's not of God. It's not one of the fruits of the Spirit. It is definitely something to avoid. And when you get into prepping, especially now because of the state of the world and everything, there's a lot of people that push fear, whether it be for sale or just to get rise. I don't know what it is, but if you're starting to find yourself fearful, stop. Stop doing the prepping, even if it is. All right. Yeah, it's just a waste of time. It will. That's a good point, Brooke. So stressing and getting yourself in depression and all these things, yeah, it will lower your immune system. That will actually take a hit on your body. And by fearing about prepping and things like that, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. You're not preparing your body to be able to handle the world and to take on things. You're going against it. I'm losing my voice. We had a house fire and lost everything. Wow. Yeah. See, that can happen. Where rust and moth can take away, or thief can come in and steal. So you can be the most prepared person and lose it all. That's why I think the skills, the knowledge, the mindset is the most valuable. If you're a MacGyver of types or someone of a survivalist mentality, you can lose everything and come back from that because you're constantly looking around you. What do I need? What do I need to do? Yeah. Hey, Blissful. Let's see. Agree, Gujos Family Farms. Do what you can and take it one day at a time. Yep. Not guaranteed tomorrow. Remember, make today count. We are in the world, but not part of it. Yeah. And so my goal is definitely creating more and more of that definition of that separation and to be able to show that to my kids. Started prepping 2006, lost it all in 2012. Well, you lost the physical stuff. Learned valuable lessons. Yep. And if you're learning from it, that's what matters, right? Need to focus on medical preps. Yeah. Band-Aids go bad. Band-Aids go bad? What? Huh? One of the things I thought it was kind of interesting, Christina mentioned too, is she's like, well, I don't have, a million Band-Aids. I don't have these things. So these are things I've slowly acquired. First of all, I didn't know they'd go bad, but I've slowly acquired the things, very, very slowly acquired the things I have. And some of our preps, we actually go through really quickly because they're used, which is good. That's what they're there for. Yeah. I need to focus a little bit on more medical too. And that's part of being reliant on myself a little bit more, and a little more self-sufficient. If I can't get to the doctor for some reason, I mean, it could be my car gives me a ton of trouble. I'm actually in the process right now of possibly trying to replace it. But if we had a medical emergency or my wife was gone, I go out and my car won't start. I need to be able to handle at least enough to handle a situation in the short time. Yeah, anyways. Blissful Acres as something you've started working on slowly. It's more extensive first aid kit. Yeah, you got to do it slowly too. Slowly. Some people, when I watch Jim at East Tennessee Prepardness, he starts packing up old reused containers full of rice and putting those on the shelf. One of the things people do is they think, well, I only have a small first aid kit. I only have a little bit of water or food. I'm not a prepper. I'm not ready. And they start to get fearful and worked up. No, you are more than you were. anything helps. And you just slowly build on that day to day. And what I mean by preparedness mindset is over time, as I do these things, when I'm at the store and I think, okay, I got all the things I need, let's get one item maybe to put on the shelf. And so I might grab an extra box of Band-Aids, an extra thing of alcohol, or an extra set of batteries. And I throw those in a box, and you let those go, and they get put in rotation. Only things I'm using, right? You guys all have such good points. You write for Jace Medical. Yeah, that is something I want to get, is the antibiotics. Now, I also want to gain the skills and knowledge to know what plants to grow that contain natural antibiotics and those things. But yep. Hey, Verna. All right. You've been watching the prices of groceries. Yeah. Okay. If you are prepping for no other reason other than inflation, I look at some of the things I buy, and doing YouTube helps me because I mention prices from time to time. And there's a couple big things that are happening. That's inflation, and then also some shipping concerns maybe. When you have things like a freeze dryer, or I have the means to go buy 50 cans of corn, and now I use corn, so that's not sitting on the shelf. I'm not hoarding that. We go through it, a lot of it. But when you have the means to do that, if I bought those 50 cans at 50 cents a can and now they're $1 a can, I'm already prepping financially right there. I'm saving myself some money. That freeze dryer is something I want to get though, Verna. That is awesome. Would love a copy of that. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, Chase Medical PDF. Yeah. They have gotten absolutely outrageous. So if you're prepping or homesteading or farming or whatever you want to call it, survival mindset, survivalist, because I'm surviving day to day, surviving this crazy world and getting through the pitfalls it may bring. Then yeah, certainly that's going to help you out with that grocery bill as well. There's a good reason to do it. Oh, hey, Figs and Quill, do you have a PDF available anywhere? Or maybe they'd find that on Jace. Too bad it took skin cancer. Okay, so that's why you got stitches. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Oftentimes, though, we face hard things, and that pushes us into thinking. Hey, I'll be praying for you, though. Hopefully you get over that. We do add in our Sabbath little service or dinner that our family does. We pray for other people, too, so that's something we do. Rotational prepping. That is where it gets important, and that is what is going to separate you. Part of what will separate you from being a hoarder to just having a preparedness mindset. I call it, once again, a survivalist. Rotational prepping. So we actually I take a permanent marker and we label the best buy date on all of our cans. We do that because to help with rotation. Now you can go a lot further past that with canned goods. I'm go off topic a little bit, but I do want to mention we also can a lot of our garden and our own foods. We do our own canning. Now, cost-wise, compared to buying a can of green beans and canning your own, right now there's not a huge difference. However, benefit-wise, I now know how to can that can of green beans. I know how they were grown, what went into the soil, what went into picking them. So there's a lot more benefit to it. Yeah, you got to rotate. I call it a living pantry. Now, I do have some long-term pantry, Augustin Farms and Mountain House, things like that. Oh, you know what I didn't talk about? Well, whatever. I missed some stuff, but that's okay. Yeah, so the things I gain, other benefits I gain out of it, definitely is discipline, patience. Hard work is good. People don't like it, but it's good. Even if nothing ever happens, the skills I'm gaining are right there. I sound like a seasoned sailor, huh? Oh, really? So, Aaron, you work in the maritime industry. That is cool. I did not know that. Well, that's cool, I guess. As far as water prep goes, you have 400 gallons military water buffalo. Wow, rain barrels, plastic water bladder, life straws, gallon jugs. Yeah, Distilled water for CPAP. Yep, that's something a lot of people pass over. So you can have some empty jars. I suggest people can water, actually. That's going to give you sterilized water to use in medical preps and things like that, CPAP machine, whatnot. And it just stores an empty jar that may be empty anyways. But that's cool, Ed. So I talk redundancy and contingency. So we have, of course, city waters first, then we have bottled water, rainwater, means to filter that water. My animals each have their own rain catchment systems. Redundancies. Makes things easier too. Yep, water distiller, that's something I want to look at. We stick to 1 year area as far as food. So you're probably even doing better than I am, I bet. Because we feel like growing season to growing season is ideal. Yeah. So for example, this last year, my cayenne peppers did not, and it may not be a staple, but to me, cayenne peppers did not do very well. I didn't get a lot at all. But the previous year, I had dry canned a ton of cayenne peppers. And they actually got me from the previous year all the way through the bad harvest and winter. And I'm finishing off the last 2 jars right now. But yeah. So a year's excellent. That you're doing way better than a lot of people. Yeah, I agree. Hoard seeds. There are some things that are okay to hoard. Seeds are one of them. Toilet paper. If you have to hoard toilet paper, maybe look into a bidet. One of the things I started looking into, because I thought that was funny people did that, was I started looking into toilet paper is a fairly new thing. So what did people do before that? Yeah, seed catalogs are your gateway drug. Us too. So I didn't go into seeds tonight, but you cut down on waste by freeze drying leftovers. Beautiful. LOL. It's too hard to cook for 1 or 2 people. Freeze drying keeps me from getting sick of any one food. Yeah, that's awesome. Yep, that's right. Exactly, Verna. I lost nearly everything on 12/6/10 when I slipped on ice and had multiple concussion. Oh no. You had to relearn so much. Yeah. Yeah, things happen, and you can be prepared as possible, but things happen, you know. Ed saying you also need to take into mind your health changes. Yeah, that's what things happen with your prepped food. Okay, I've had to give away most of your food stock because you can't eat it due to health problems. Yeah, that happens too. So you know, if you have way too much, that could be an issue, I guess. But that is something to take into mind is your changes. So actually, when I first started prepping too, for personal reasons, and, you know, some spiritual reasons and stuff, our family doesn't eat pork. And so when we had first started prepping, that was one of the canned hams and things like that were one of the things that were on the shelf that actually had to change that a little bit in my own personal diet. Vay, I started freeze drying all of your leftovers. Hey, that's great. Yep, that's going to cut down on that grocery budget. Plus, then you're preparing, you're putting things aside for long-term storage because freeze dryers are awesome. And you're not wasting those leftovers. So we don't waste leftovers anyways. Any leftovers we have either go to the dogs, the birds, the compost. If I had a freeze dryer, it would go there. Yep, good point, Ed. Fish biotics are good. I use them for years. So that's some knowledge and something else to look at. Yeah. Got to go. Hey, thanks, Brooke, for coming. Good. I'm glad you got a little bit of it. Hopefully tonight's chat was awesome. It was good having you here. So have a good evening. Eat what you store what you eat. Yeah. And so by doing these things like the pantry challenge and stuff, by just being observant and watching what my family. So what I did was I put a bunch of canned goods and things on the shelf for my pantry. And I watched over months, over a year, what my wife was pulling off the shelf. Now I work a job where I'm not home for dinner more than twice a week. And so a lot of what's being pulled besides what I pull off the shelf, I observe, okay, so my family's eating more spinach, more corn, the beans, the canned chicken, these different things. My wife is going through the hassle, if you will, of figuring out how to cook with these foods. You know, a lot of people don't know how to cook with canned chicken. They just think, oh, I don't like it. Well, there's ways you can cook with it where you'll like it. There's dishes you can find. Sprouts are excellent food, yeah. Not enough solar. Okay, so you're on solar. That's actually a good question I had, was if solar can run the freeze dryer. That is a bummer. So maybe you need to add more solar, or maybe like a capacitor. Now that would be something you could build, and that's dangerous. So, consult an electrician. But maybe I've been thinking of could I build a big, like a supercell or a capacitor even? Maybe that can run something like that. Now I know that one of the problems with the freeze dryers is they have to run for a long time. So that's something to look at though. Spicy pineapple is put up. Ooh, Verna made some freeze-dried pineapple with some of the Drunken Chef's spicy. You'll have to remind me which one it was, but spices on it. Oh, Verna, I want to buy some. Hey, Nikki. Cayenne peppers are a staple in your house too. Yeah, I love them. I absolutely love them. Great talk, Matt. So happy for you and your family. Thank you. And by the way, Psych, you are on my list there of people that if they needed anything, you can come. Yummy. Yep. And I hit the bottom of my comments. We're on about an hour and a half now. I'm going to kind of start to wrap up, but give a few minutes to anyone else who may want to say things. So in wrapping up today, we made soap. Let's see how that's doing. So that is still setting up. Oh, I don't know how well you can see. Still moving around a little bit. I'm going to let that cool, cut up, and we'll do a review on that next week. So we did that tonight. We did some community chat. We talked about J. Mary last one, and everyone I think should go give her channel a little bit of love. Showed Guidros Family Farms because I really thought their video in taking a emergency or a disaster of sorts and how they dealt with that. The steps that they took, that Christina took to jump in right away to figure out who's she responsible for, who does she want to help, and how was she going to do that. Now, for her, it was going to the store and purchasing a lot in the moment. To watch them think about that and about maybe having some other things on hand. Seeing Aaron hop in right away to collect rainwater to give the animals, and the extra work and steps that takes, I thought was really neat. So we did that. And then that led into prepper. What's a prepper? So I am someone a prepper mindset or survivalist. I like to consider myself, trying to get through one day to the next. So our channel here is Grafted Branch Homestead, is all about developing the skills and things now, doing the things now. So we did that. We talked about not prepping out of fear. If you're finding yourself fearful, go enjoy your family, your animals, and maybe a nice day or whatever it may be, and take a little break. That's not why you should do things. So cool. I'm going to open up the last 5-6 minutes to any questions people may have, anything you may want me to hop into a little more in depth. And then I will talk a little bit about our plan for tomorrow and next week before we hop off. So, yep, let that cool overnight. I will. New ones now can, but my 8-year-old use 20 times harvest right is a no-go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to go live in the morning. Me and Farmer Casey are going to do a short one at 9:30. I need to get the thumbnail up, but 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. I think that's 11:30 your time, Verna. Farmer Casey has some mushrooms growing and some other things he would like to show. And so that will be fun. We'll be on with Garden Chat and Garden Tea with Farmer Casey tomorrow. Next week, I'm going to be back live with a little bit more next Saturday. With a little bit more of our traditional stream. And then I do, hopefully, Farmer Casey and Spicy Mom made some videos this week. They sent me. Hopefully, I'll get up this week as well. Oh, let's see. So oh man, I know he's going to want to tell you what type. Let me see if I can see. So Farmer Casey is growing golden oyster mushrooms. So that is what he's got going on. And that'll be fun. Hey, I want to say thanks to everyone who has stuck with me through tonight's chat. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. I hope that it was collected in a way that makes sense a little bit. To everyone who watches in replay, hey, throw a howdy in the comments and give a thumbs up just to show me some support. If you guys want to catch the free shipping and discounts and extra freebies that come with your tea orders, you can still get Grafted Branch Homestead grafted teas from graftedbranchhomestead.com. If you're wanting to find yourself some long-term survival food, you can follow my affiliate link with Augustin Farms. You can get the soap making mold and some supplies through the affiliate link with Amazon in the description, as well as find some other goodies there. So I'll be watching for a book video when you have time to do that. I'll put that on the list actually right away. That would be a fun one to do. Book video. There's a ton of books I have and a lot I'd like to point out. So I'll get that done really soon there, Christina. Yeah, other than that, everyone, you guys have a blessed night. Go out there, go at life with purpose, make it count, do the things with what you have, where you are at, and don't go at it with fear. Go at it with joy in knowing you're doing something responsible for those you're responsible for. Okay, Vern, I will. Hey, Bob. Howdy. You enjoyed. Okay, awesome. Good to see you guys. I'm not going to mention everyone. I appreciate everyone for being here. You guys all rock. This is an amazing community. Thank you, Verna, for moderating, as always, and for everyone who watches in replay. If you guys have constructive stuff and comments, put that in there. If it's not constructive, please don't. If it's constructive and even negative, or maybe you have a different point of view, leave that as well. So you guys have a great one. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow or next week. Bye, y'all. Yeah!